Before you get a dental bridge, you need to hear this. Dental bridges are often sold as a fixed solution that replaces a missing tooth without surgery, but that's only part of the story, because there's a side of dental bridges most patients never hear about. So before you spend thousands of dollars, here's the truth. Replacing one tooth with a bridge can end up costing you more teeth. I call it the bridge failure cascade, and understanding how it happens can save both your teeth and your money. So what exactly is the bridge failure cascade? A bridge doesn't just replace a missing tooth. It creates a connection between the replacement tooth and the teeth next to it. And that connection is both the reason bridges work and the reason they can fail. So where does the problem begin? Usually not with the bridge breaking or coming loose. The bridge failure cascade usually starts with something much smaller. A dental bridge can't support itself. It needs pillars. And those pillars are your natural teeth. But before they can support a bridge, they first have to be prepared by shaving the tooth. That means removing healthy tooth structure all the way around them to make room for the bridge. And once that enamel is removed, it never grows back. But why is that a problem? For two big reasons. If those neighboring teeth are healthy, you're permanently weakening two good teeth just to replace one that's missing. But the second reason is even more important. Tooth enamel is incredibly hard. It's even harder than bone. And when that enamel is removed, it exposes the softer layer underneath, called dentin. Now here's something most people don't realize. The bridge itself can't get cavities, but the supporting teeth underneath it can. And once that enamel is gone, cavities can spread much faster because dentin is much softer than enamel. So removing enamel doesn't just change the shape of the tooth. It also removes its strongest natural defense. And this is where the bridge failure cascade really begins. Imagine a tiny cavity developing along the edge of one of those supporting teeth. At first, it's microscopic. You don't feel it, you don't see it. And because the bridge covers most of that tooth, it's often much harder to detect than a cavity on a normal tooth. Which creates a bigger problem. With a natural tooth or even an implant, you can floss between the teeth. But a bridge doesn't allow that. Because the replacement tooth is attached to the teeth next to it, normal floss simply can't pass through. Bridges require special tools and a very specific way of cleaning underneath them, something many patients are never shown. Now you might be thinking, what's the big deal if I miss a few spots? Well, quite a lot actually. Plaque starts building up underneath the bridge. Food gets trapped. The gums become inflamed. And bacteria begin sitting against the supporting teeth. So the cavity keeps growing, quietly, month after month, sometimes for years. Eventually, the decay reaches a point where it finally becomes visible or starts causing symptoms. But by then, there's another problem. Treating it isn't simple anymore, because the bridge itself blocks access to the damaged tooth. We often have to cut the bridge off, and once we do, the bridge is usually destroyed and can't simply be put back. And when we finally get to the damaged tooth, we often discover that it has reached a critical point. It needs a root canal, the root has fracture, or the decay is so extensive that the tooth needs to be extracted. That's the bridge failure cascade. A single missing tooth leads to a bridge. A hidden cavity weakens one of the supporting teeth. That tooth is lost, the foundation collapses, and the entire bridge fails. But here's something else that matters. Bridges don't always replace just one missing tooth. Sometimes they're used to replace 2, 3, or even more missing teeth. As the bridge gets longer, more teeth become connected together. A problem affecting a single supporting tooth can put the entire bridge at risk, potentially involving several replacement teeth at once. Now, does this happen to every bridge? Absolutely not. I have patients who've had the same bridge for 20 years or more and they're still doing well. But I've also seen the other side. I remember one patient who chose a bridge because they didn't want implant surgery. And honestly, at that time, it made sense. But around 12 years later, one of the supporting teeth broke and had to be removed. I was able to save the other one, but the bridge was gone. So what started as one missing tooth has turned into 2. And in the end, the patient needed a denture, but they never really adapted to it. And to this day, they tell me they regret choosing the bridge. Now, I'm not telling you this story to convince you that bridges are bad, because they aren't. But here's the part that I really want you to think about. What happens after a bridge fails? A failed bridge can be far more complicated and expensive to replace than the original missing tooth, because you can't always just make another bridge. Remember, the bridge relied on those neighboring teeth. If one of them is now gone, you may not have enough teeth left to support another one. So instead of replacing one tooth, you may now be replacing two. Instead of one treatment, you may need several. And instead of solving the problem you started with, you're now dealing with a much bigger one. That's the part of the bridge failure cascade I really want you to understand. The biggest risk isn't simply losing the bridge, it's losing the tooth that was holding it up, and with it, some of your future treatment options. So after hearing all of this, you might be wondering, should anyone get a dental bridge? Absolutely. Bridges are still an excellent treatment in the right situation. The key is making sure that you're the right patient, and there are 4 questions that determine whether a bridge is a great option or a mistake. First, are the teeth next to the gap already heavily restored? If they already have large fillings, crowns or root canals, you're not preparing healthy teeth just to support a bridge. You're combining treatment those teeth already need with the replacement of the missing tooth. In those situations, a bridge often makes a lot of sense. Second, are those supporting teeth actually strong enough? They're going to carry extra chewing forces every single day. If they're already weakened by severe gum disease, advanced decay or fractures, they may not be good candidates to support a bridge long term. Third, are you willing to clean it properly? This is probably the most underestimated question of all. A bridge demands more from you than any other tooth replacement. If you're someone who struggles to floss your own natural teeth consistently, a bridge isn't likely to become easier to maintain. Learning to clean it every day isn't optional. It's one of the biggest factors determining whether it lasts for years or fails. That's exactly why I've created a free oral hygiene guide specifically for people with dental bridges and implants. It shows you the right tools to use, the correct order to use them, and exactly how to clean underneath your bridge to help keep it healthy for years to come. And finally, if the alternatives aren't right for you, a bridge may actually be the best solution. Not everyone is a good candidate for an implant, and not everyone wants a removable denture. For many of those patients, a bridge can be the best balance between function, comfort, and simplicity. The goal isn't to avoid bridges. The goal is to choose one for the right reasons, and with a full understanding of what it asks from both you and your supporting teeth. If you want better teeth and you want to learn the insider tips most patients never hear, make sure to subscribe. And if you're deciding between a bridge and an implant, don't make a decision until you've watched this next video. And I'll see you there for another fresh take on every bite. See ya!